Tell them run it on.
What is going on? What is going on, everybody in the house? What is going on? Wake up in Cleveland every single morning.
I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it on. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it on. I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it on. I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it on.
What is going on? What is going on? DJ Cleveland Terry Show, aka Text Thursday. Text Thursday. I'm getting text messages, so I'm literally saying Text Thursday, which it really isn't. It's just a regular old Thursday in September. What is it? September 5th. We are happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I am. It's over 100 degrees today. And my house is on this side of my house is not set up for extreme heat and technology. This was one of the things during the pandemic, especially when we were live. Streaming. I mean, we're live streaming right now, but when we were on Twitch and we were, had the DJ stuff, we were doing back to back with my son, all that stuff. When I tell you that this particular office used to get hot as hell because of all the equipment. Now, it's relatively hot now. There's a couple of things in here that just generate a lot of heat, but it's hot. We'll see how long this lasts today. My fan's on blast. I don't want to bring in the other air conditioning unit because then it'll be too loud. When you're DJ streaming, the noise doesn't matter. It's just a part of everything else. But when you're just talking to people and you can hear every single thing, ooh, you can't do that. What's worse? This is a dry fed, okay? This is dry fed. This is super cool. Dry fed might as well be just a cooling hat. Dry fit. This isn't a regular hat. Okay? This is a Disney dry fit. Did I say dry fit? But and I don't really care. I mean, the hat's the hat. It doesn't really bother me, honestly. But it's the rest of my body that's hot. But my warehouse is got to be 120 degrees. And I'm in an industrial complex. There's no like main air conditioning. Our first building that we ever leased, there was air conditioning in my unit. It was one of those things that you didn't expect, but mine had air conditioning. So we were really happy. This one does not have air conditioning. So I have a portable air conditioner that I turn on. I mean, I'm not at the office for hours on a time. Yesterday, I was there for about 2 hours, 3 hours. And I turned the air on like immediately. And it was so hot that it never really got cool. But there is internet there now. So that's the thing. We will be, once we get something that is realistic, that's going to really cool off my building, we will have some more streams there. May not necessarily be this show, but it might be the production streaming, things like that. But it's got to be cooler. I got to figure that part out. It is hot. Yeah, it's going to be. I think we're maxing out today. In the valley, Simi Valley, at 105, 106 today. What is it at my office that I was considering going to? Let's take a look real quick. LA, a high of 109. had all my plastic buttons on my S7 melt in this heat. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. No, we are not there. I haven't had anything excessively overheat in my warehouse ever, even when it's gotten super, super hot. It's just hot. It's hot as hell right now. We are in a heat wave, and we're going to be like this for another, 3 or 4 days. But it is what it is. Anyway, 106 today, 107 tomorrow. The worst things about heat during the week, you're like, whatever. I'm sitting in an air conditioning. I'm cool. But then on Saturdays, when you know you're going to be out, or Sundays when you know you have gigs, there's nothing worse than that. As a matter of fact, where is my party on Saturday? Hopefully I'm inside. Where am I? Yeah, I'm inside. I'm in Pasadena. Anyway, it's hot. It always is what it is. That's facts. That is facts. I got back from Florida yesterday, and it's just as hot. Well, and it's also because it's a different hot. Florida hot is it's pretty much hell. Like Florida hot is so when you're in California, let's just go to the desert. The desert right now says it's like 116 degrees. It doesn't feel like 116 degrees in Florida would. You can manage with dry heat. Humidity and heat is not the thing. That is gotta be the most uncomfortable position to be in. When you're just sweating everywhere. And no matter what you do, no matter where you go, you're going to put some liquid on you, you're going to spray yourself down, it's still hot. You can't win. When I went to Florida, when we went to Disney World in November a couple of years back, it was just hot everywhere. We were in the shade. It was raining. It was just so uncomfortable. I have never been so annoyed to be somewhere in my life. Like, you know, you're on vacation, so you're just like, this is great. We're at Disney World. Well, yay. I mean, that's what my family says anyway. I do this. Are you going to spend more money today? Do you think we could eat inside the building? Do we have to eat at Disneyland everywhere? Are you really that thirsty? Do we have to get the super machine cup that has somebody, can't we just get a cup of water? Do you need that Diet Coke? You just start to think about things. I don't know. I've never been in a situation, because my family loves to spend money. I've never been in a situation where when they were buying stuff, I wasn't like running calculations in my head the whole time. Because look, I don't know where you guys sit in your life, but I'm the budget guy, and every relationship is different. You know, I have a cousin on my wife's side who got married exactly when we got married, like within like a couple of months. He is the spendaholic. She is the, hey, let's ease back. I'm the ease back person. So literally on vacation, I'm just like, ooh, this is nice. We should get this. Ooh, this is nice. And I'm just like, $37, ding. $65, ding. $104, ding. Like that's all I'm thinking the entire time, because I'm thinking I have a set amount of money for this trip. Doesn't matter what the cost, what it is. It could be $1,000. It could be $500. I have a set amount. And every time you ding, ding, well, that total goes down. And I'm like, we still have another 8 days. Okay. So this comment right here, I guess I popped that up. It's not about quality. It's how you make your kids feel. That right there, that statement, and I'm generalizing. I'm not saying this is a Mac Joseph, thing. This is a lot of people. Okay. This statement is bullshit. This statement right here. This statement is bullshit. Now, the reason why it's bullshit is because, look, you're supposed to make your children's lives better than yours. You are, okay? And everything that I've ever done in my family life has been to make my family's life better. But there's a fine line between making it better and then making it broke and making it's only money. It's only money. Yeah, that's true. It is only money until you need that money for something else. Okay. So I go through life going, I want my kids to be happy, but I also want them to understand that what it is that we are doing is a special thing. And this isn't common. It might be common. Oh my God, I sound like my mom. I'm about to say some of your little rich friends. I literally was about to say some of your little rich friends. That is my mama right there. That is 100% my mama. It has happened. It has happened. I've done it. But they also need to understand that money does not grow on trees. And they can't just have whatever they want all the time. We are going to manage. We're going to manage what we're doing this week. We're going to have fun, but we're also going to manage it. So they understand that it's just, we're not Saudi princes with all the money in the world. All these things. You like light? You like air conditioning? You like those cell phones? All of those things I'm providing. Happy birthday. Sure was nice not to go to bed hungry. Sure is nice not to walk around with holy ass socks and holy shoes. I did that. Now, I know it's not their fault. I know they didn't ask to be here. I get that. We brought them into this world. I get that. But my kids don't ever go wanting. But they will hear no a lot. I just say no just because. I am preacher man. It says boomer. Okay. I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to say one thing about the boomer. And look, first off, I'm not a boomer. I'm a millennial. I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X. I will say this though. There's a lot to be said about the children of today versus the children before. There's a lot to be said. I am the way I am because of how I grew up. The kids today are the way they are because of how they grow up. And all of our parenting is making this generation. And this is the generation. This one, I don't even know what they call this generation now. My daughter's 12. But this is the generation that is never told no. Since like 2002, this is the generation that has never been told no. They don't understand not being able to do or get or say or act however they want. They have been taught that it is okay to feel a certain way and to express all of those emotions. Whether it's appropriate or not. This is the generation that was receiving participation trophies when they were growing up, when they were in Little League or, basketball. Nobody loses, everybody wins. You don't think that all of those people have anything to do with the way the world is right now in 2024? Honestly, you don't think that never being told no, never being told this isn't in the cards? Sorry, you're not good enough. Sorry, you need to work harder. No, you're not just entitled to this because you breathe. They don't hear that. Not everybody, but for the most part, I'm talking about a generation. They don't hear that. So they always expect everything to be there for them. They always expect, well, I want it, so why can't I get it? Then you get these people that are saying, literally, if you come out of college and you are not making $250,000, you're a failure. This is legitimate right now. So I don't want my kids coming up that way. But I do appreciate where I can put them compared to where I was, because it's all levels. Like when I was growing up, I always love these questions. Like I'm breaking it down. Okay. Marion says, every generation is different. Deal with it. I am dealing with it. That's the conversation. The difference is, you want me to accept it. Okay. You're dealing with it means get over yourself, accept it. This is how they are. They don't have to be this way. This generation doesn't have to be this way. They are this way because we, the royal we, made them this way. We can unmake them this way. Okay? All of these things that we're going through right now and the way these generations are, it's because they haven't been told no. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. I know what I see with my own eyeballs. And it started with participation trophies. So I tell my kids today, no, all the time. That's the running joke in my family. Dad will say no. And then in a little while, maybe a couple hours, maybe a day or so, he'll say yes. But it'll be say yes with some caveats. I try to provide so my kids, enjoy. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, my parents worked day and night. They were full-time people. We were latchkey kids. There was nobody home when we got out of school. We would ride the city bus. We would go home. We would go in the house. We would lock the door, and we would wait for my mom or my dad to get home. Doesn't exist now. Latchkey kids, that was the norm back in the 80s and 90s. Now, the kids can't even walk to school by themselves. My kid legitimately lives a quarter of a mile from her school. My wife will not let her walk home. My son was barely able to walk home. It's just a different world. I get that. But I tell them no. I tell them no. They need to understand no. They have it harder than us? What does that even mean? How can they have it harder than us? Now, we could be talking about different degrees of where their lives were harder. Okay? Like in general, I would say their lives are harder because of the things that we have put in place. Everything, nobody's allowed to feel a certain way without affecting other people. You know, bullying is gone. Can't bully. And even the ones that aren't bullying are considered bullies. Like things that were just people being honest, just telling the truth. Now you're a bully. Everybody's so thin-skinned. You know, again, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. You know, TV shows, comedians, everybody was just like, they just said stuff. If you were offended, you were offended. But maybe you laughed, maybe you just ignored it. Now somebody says something, you have an obligation to cancel that person. You have an obligation to tell everybody in the world how you shouldn't be watching or listening to this person. There's no longer hey, you know what? It's not for me. It's not for me. Where did that go? It's not for me. It's too sensitive. The world is too sensitive. So I try to make my kids understand that some of these things we don't have to live like. So I tell my kids no. Tell my kids we're not going to do that. We're not going to do any of that. Nope. And my wife is the nurturer. And she's the one that's like always, no, honey, we have to. And in all honesty, in all fairness, if it wasn't for my wife, obviously my kids made me softer too. But if it wasn't for my wife, we wouldn't do half the things we do. Half the things, because she's like, no, we have to. No, she's a vacation kid. You know, she always got to do everything she wanted. And like, I when I was growing up, I didn't go on a single vacation. When I was growing up, no vacations. Anything that I did when I got old enough to do it, and then I paid my own way. I've been working since I was 10 years old. Okay, started with paper route. Then I was managing a drive-in movie theater at like 14. All right, I mean, like I've always been in kind of these managerial positions. That's just been my thing. So I've always understood the movie theater. The drive-in movie theater was legitimately like, I want to say, Simi Valley is not that big. So it's probably a good, 7 miles away, 7-8 miles from where I lived. And I would get on my bike and I would ride to the drive-in. And I'd ride home every day. So I understand the meaning of hard work. So I want to put that in my children. You can't get anywhere unless you work hard. Yeah, you can fall into some stuff, maybe. But in general, the hard work is what creates the longevity. So you're not a flash in the pants. You get it? That's all. Everybody just... But do you teach your children how to work hard on themselves like you or not? I feel like I'm saying that right now. Yes, they understand. Okay, let me give you a perfect example. Okay, and then we'll move on. Mixed messaging in the house. Cat's groove in the house. What's going on? Let me give you just one example. I own a DJ company. All right, I employ about, give or take, 100 people. Okay, different levels: DJs, dancers, MCs, lighting techs. Everybody. Okay. I taught my son how to DJ. However, I did not force my son to DJ. I did not make him DJ. I wanted him to want to be able to DJ and wanted to enjoy. He would come on, dabble a little bit. I'd show him something. He'd go away for like a year. Okay. Then he'd come back. The pandemic happened. He all of a sudden, I was at home. I was DJing here. He wanted to get in. So we started DJing together. Now, when my son got old enough and he started asking me for money, all right, what I did was I gave him a job. I said, you can be one of the dancers. It's bar mitzvahs, so they're jumping around with kids. You can be one of the dancers. It'll be your first job, really. You can learn the ropes. Then, when he got good enough at DJing, he would be my roadie and my shadow. And then he would hop on when I would say, hey, you do this set, whatever, take this set. So, the bottom line here is that when he needed money, when he wanted to get a car or all of these things, I gave him a job so he could work for it and understand the value of work. And if you work, the freedom that you get from working. I don't necessarily want him to go work at a McDonald's or something like that, although, it's like $20 an hour in California, neither here nor there. But I don't want him to work at McDonald's or some Subway or something like that when I'm able to give my children money. You want something? Here. Then he started working. He would go out. He would buy stuff. He'd come back. Oh, I bought this, Dad. I bought this. And I'm literally like this. That's cool, man. Congratulations. You earned it. You earned the money. You bought what you wanted. He wanted a car. I'm like, okay, we'll get you a car. But I'm not paying for your car. You'll pay for your car. So I make sure that he has enough work per month to be able to pay his car note and have opportunities for whatever he wants to do. And being a DJ, they get paid a good amount of money. He's not wanting for more money. It's a good amount. So it teaches them, if you want something, you got to work for it. He's a professional dancer that he got into school because of his dancing. He's gotten many opportunities because of his dancing, but he didn't get those opportunities just because he happened to be so-and-so. He got opportunities because he proved time and time again how good he was. So his name, but he got to LMU and I want to say like 3/4 of the dance community or department already knew who he was because he earned it from the hard work. So he had to do that. He had to go and do that. Now, my wife obviously pushed him, is like, look, this is what you're good at. If you're going to do it, let's do it. We'll pay the money. We'll pay the money if this is what you enjoy. But at a certain point, it's like, hey, okay, now you're able. Now, when he's at college, now when he's, on Saturdays, he has to come back to the studio to get equipment or whatever. He understands. It's my job. It's my job. If I want something, I have to work for it. He goes, hey, Dad, I want to get a new Xbox. I'm like, do it. Do it. Comes home, goes to Target, comes back with a new Xbox. He was so happy. He was so happy. I will repeat that one more time. He was so happy. It wasn't just because he got an Xbox. It's because he could get an Xbox. It's because he used his money to get that Xbox. It's way different than when you're gifted that Xbox. He would have been happy with the Xbox if we had given it to him for, his birthday or whatnot. But that accomplishment of doing something and getting it because you were able to do it and you deserved it goes farther than anything you can ever do. That independence. You see what I'm saying? Instead of just going, oh, well, he wants it, so get it for him. No. My wife does this all the time. Like, he'll go out and, oh, he needed gas. I'm like, well, why are we paying for his gas? Oh, he needed it. I'm like, I don't understand. He worked 4 times this month. I know exactly how much money he made. So why are we paying for his gas? Now, can I pay for his gas? Absolutely. Have I paid for his gas? Absolutely. But does he need to understand that if he wants a car, there are responsibilities that go along with that car? Yes. That's all. That's all. You gotta be harder on your children than you want to be. Now, I have 3 kids. 3 kids. So it's not like I'm just saying, no, I have 3 kids and they are all very different. And you have to treat them all differently. I am not unaware. I'm not ignorant to that fact. I don't walk around like, no, everybody does the same. Not everybody does the same. The way we discipline my son is completely different than the way we discipline my younger daughter, than the way we disciplined my older daughter. Completely different. Everybody reacts differently, which is why you cannot go through this world saying that everybody needs to be treated this way or no way, because everybody needs different ways of learning and being disciplined. My son was the kind of person that you literally had to yell at. You had to yell at him. He would push and push and push until you got to that point. You had to be on him or he would just let it go. Now we're stuck in his head. So he's doing this on his own. My oldest daughter was like a princess. She was book smart. She had her own issues, but she got her degree. She did all the things. We were never worried about her in school. That's just the way it is. My younger daughter is the most sensitive thing I've ever touched. She's like a tomato. You know what I mean? She's a tomato. Like every time we have to like talk to her or discipline her, we have to make sure that we don't bruise her. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. My oldest daughter, you could talk to with more with logic. She was the logical person. My son, logical, but he just kind of, kept to himself. Anyway, it's all different. My daughter, my youngest, why'd you do this? Don't do this. How dare you? Why are you being so hard on me? It's not fair. Not one of my kids besides her has ever said it's not fair. She is the queen of it's not fair. We have been breaking down these fundamental walls for years. Still. But the one thing I will say about her, and then we'll move on. The one thing I will say, she loves hard. So when things don't go her way, it is the most dramatic thing in the world. And we have to approach her so differently. It's hard. Like, now that she's the only one here since my son went to college like 2 weeks ago. Oh my God. I'm considering renting a hotel. And either I go in that hotel or she goes in that hotel. I haven't decided which one's going. And I didn't think it was going to be so bad. But just being in an all-girl house now is kind of trash. There's way too much emotion in my house now. And do they fight all the time. All the time. I now know what my son did in the dynamics of my house. You see, my son was the person that had some sense of, well, that doesn't make any sense. That he has the me and like what, so I had balance. You know what I mean? Like when those two got crazy, he came in and he would work with my daughter because he's like, big brother / dad, and he would get her calm, whatever. Like anytime she had a thing, he would go in her room and calm her down. He's gone. He's gone. Now it's just like hell on wheels. Okay. So For coming back to today, coming back to now, um, LD says, dude teaching us how to DJ and parent. So look, in case you guys are new here, the reason why it's called the Cleveland Terry Show is because it's not just DJ related. This is life stuff, man. Everything we do is life stuff. Even as DJs, it's all life stuff. And anybody that wants to be a better DJ, wants to have better equipment, wants to run a successful DJ company, wants to learn all these traits. All these things are fundamental in everything we do in our lives. I have never believed that you can be successful by being cutthroat and evil, and you can be a good person at home. I don't think that exists. It does not exist. If you are going through your business, your DJ business, your AV business, your charcuterie business, if you go through all of these things and all you ever do is take, or you're difficult, or you're just, making drama, or you're stabbing people in the back, you're people that work for you, people that are in the other company, you're stabbing people in the back all the time, it never works out. Now, again, it might work out temporarily, but it doesn't work out in the long run. It never works. The way you are with your family should translate into the way you are as a human being, to the way you are as a business owner. It can't be different. You can't be, I love my children and I give them everything they want. And you turn around and you're like taking advantage and overcharging your clients and giving them shitty, mediocre product. It's all one and the same. And I have a feeling that if you're giving your clients shitty and mediocre product and you have the ability not to, I get it. You're starting out. Maybe you just have, cheap gear or whatever. And you're just trying your best. If I can just get through these parties, I can make enough money to upgrade my gear. Like, I get that. We're not talking about that kind of stuff. We're just talking about the way you run it. If you have it in your power to do good and you opt not to, that stuff gets out. Again, negativity travels so much faster than positivity. All right. You guys, you could do 100 fantastic parties. Those 100 people may not ever talk to you again. They might not ever refer you. But if somebody asks, hey, have you worked with this company? And they'll be like, oh yeah, they did a great job. But you may not have those cheerleaders that are out telling everybody, oh my God, if you need a DJ, if you need this is the company you buy. And these are on perfect parties. You killed the party. People danced the entire night. And they won't say a word. Meanwhile, you get one little thing that goes wrong on your party, and it's the end of the world, and they will tell everybody they know, everybody willing to listen. So if you can avoid it, and by the way, I want to be clear about something. Sometimes you can avoid it. Okay. Sometimes some negative stuff happens and it's just there. Maybe you just made a mistake, right? You made a mistake, or maybe whatever happened was just out of your control. Happens all the time. These are live events. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe it's out of your control and you did your best and that client is calling you and wanting to complain, or maybe maybe the client did something that ruined the party. Maybe you both were reading the tea leaves and they were reading them incorrectly for the party. So the party got ruined because of their management or mismanagement of their own party. Happens all the time. I am the same person that would be like, if we make a mistake, if we legitimately made a mistake, I will flat out say, you are right. Let me try to make this better. If we don't make a mistake, I'm going to say, I understand your frustration. However, there's nothing that I can do. There is a difference. There's a difference between being walked over, okay, and just running a business. Because a business, look, businesses don't have emotion. That's why we have rules in place. That's why we have contracts. That's why we have laws to remove emotion from the equation. Okay? And if you make negotiations emotional, somebody's getting taken advantage of. All right? So when I send somebody a contract and then let's just say something goes wrong and they start giving me this whole, well, I wasn't pleased with my event. It's not what I thought I was getting. And then I break down all the reasons that it happened the way it did. If they're still like, I don't care, I'm not happy, well, emotion goes out the door. Now we're pulling up contracts. Well, I understand the way you feel. However, there's nothing in my contract, nothing that says satisfaction guaranteed. I'm not OxyClean. You can't get your money back if you're not happy with the situation, because live things are at the mercy of the live things. We're not magic. We're not, we're good at what we do. And when I say we, I'm talking about all of us. You guys also listening. We're good at what we do. We're good at reading crowds. We're professionals. We understand the dynamics. As professionals, the one thing that always drives me crazy about workers, DJs, whatever. The one thing that drives me crazy is when a professional, if you're going to call yourself a professional, okay? I'm putting that little caveat out there. If you're going to call yourself a professional, if you can't see fires on the horizon, if you can't see that by doing X, you're going to get Z. If you're just, I'm just driving down the countryside. Ooh, it's a nice day. Beautiful sunset. I wonder why the sunset's so beautiful. Oh, that's because of all the fires. Of all the fires that are just above that hill, making the sunset all pretty. But meanwhile, your world is burning. If you can't see why you have beautiful sunsets as you're driving down the countryside, you cannot call yourself a professional. A professional that's what makes you a professional, being able to adjust and move and fix problems before they happen. If you were just a DJ, okay, they hired you on, you're just a vendor. So you're one of, a whole bunch of things, but they just hired you, just play background music. Okay, rules are gone. It's just you. I'm just playing music. Meanwhile, everything's burning around me, but that's not my problem. That's a different story. But if you're like we are and you're doing mobile events and they hire you to run this party, okay, your job is to run it. And you never see any fires. And every time you get hit, you get burned. I'm burned. Why am I burning? There's a flame right there. You don't see the flame? That flame is burning your arm right now. You don't see that. I just saw it just now. Okay, we put that fire out. Let's just keep going. And you're literally like in the building that's on fire around you, and you don't sense that. It's a problem. We need to be able to predict what's going to happen. So when a client says, I want to do this, or a client says, hey, can we do this? Your job is to be able to go, yeah. However, if we do this, this is likely going to happen. Are you okay with this happening if we do this? And where's my mouse? There we go. They can tell you yes or no. But once they tell you, yes, I'm okay, when that thing happens that you predicted, they can't come to you. That's our jobs. I've used this term. I will bring it back. The term, it's my favorite term in the entire world. Honestly, it's the thing I live by. This applies to business. This applies to family. This applies to friends. The term is, I keep trying to get this off. The term is managed expectations. I live my life off of managed expectations. Don't tell your clients that you can guarantee it's going to be the best party they ever had. You're going to love it. There's nothing that's going to go wrong. You're setting yourself up for failure. What you can say is, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep trying. That's the only thing that a professional can really say. Freon Johnny in the building. What's going on, fam? Yeah, that's what that is. It's absolutely undersell. You could be the best. In my field and what we do, we are considered to be one of the best DJ companies that does it. People call me literally, oh my God, that my friends, I have asked, my favorite part of what we do, this is just a subtle flex, but I never get a chance to really flex. My favorite part is when a client will call me, or potential client, and I'll say, how'd you hear about us? And they will say, well, I heard about you from my friends at my kid's school. And then I went to a random temple, 7 cities down, and I asked them who they recommend, and they recommended you. I talked to 7 party planners, and you were always at the top of their list. I love that. Makes my job of selling so much easier. However, after they tell me all of this, when we're going, she's like, I'm so excited for my party. I'm like, we're excited too. It's going to be great. We're going to do our best. Oh, it's going to be the best party ever. We're going to try our hardest. At no time do I ever say, you're going to have the best party. I'll say stuff like, this sounds like it's going to be a really good party. This sounds like it's going to be fun. I have never, ever gone on record to say, I guarantee you this party's going to rock. Because when it doesn't rock, you're screwed. And you can't guarantee that a party's going to rock. There is nothing out there. Now, we can guarantee that we can fight all the fires. We can see them and put them out before they happen, so your party is as smooth as possible. We can guarantee, for the most part, that if you allow us to do our jobs, you're going to get a good party. Now, there's a potential that it won't be a great party. Now, maybe it's not a great party because of the dynamics of the room. Maybe the food section is in another room and the dance section is in another place. And they have to go eat and then they have to come back and the bar is outside. So there's no reason for them to come back into the room. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you get to a place and you know that their ordinance says you can't have music above 80 decibels. And you know that's going to affect your party. So there's certain things that you can't fight, no matter how good you are. No matter how good you are, there's certain things that are going to happen. And all you can do is manage them. So manage expectations. Maybe the guests are crummy and a fight breaks out. I've seen that too, Mac. Absolutely. That's all we can do. We're not magic. I told the client, we had one recently. I told the story a couple of weeks ago. The client's like, well, I wasn't happy. And I said, well, a lot of the situation that occurred, the reason why you weren't happy is because you didn't listen to us. You didn't listen to us. You didn't listen to the professional. You thought you were the professional, and you're not. You're a professional guest. Professional guests don't understand what professional DJs do. Now, ultimately, we want to meet right in the middle of that professional guest and that professional DJ, and we want to meet here. Absolutely. But that's not always the case. So, manage expectations. That's all I can ask for. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to read through these comments real quick to see if I can find some of the good ones. And obviously, I always say this. I'm going to say it again. I look through all the comments after the shows. I rewatch the video and read the live stream. So even if I don't see your comments in real time, I see them later on. And if they are good, I usually try to incorporate them into the next show. Just an FYI for you guys. But I do want to look at the comments to see if there's anything of value. And we'll be right back.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, thank you for answering the door. You guys available on July 1st? Yeah, we're available. Do you have a brochure I can take a look at? Here you go. This all looks good. Can you send me out a contract? Here's your contract. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, see here. Just go ahead and sign it and send it in your deposit. Okay. Are you gonna sign it? If you need to take some time, go ahead. Just send it in when you're ready. All right, thank you. Hey, sorry I took a little while, but I'm finally ready to sign the contract. So if you can just send me. Yeah, we are no longer available for that date. You're not available? Sorry. Well, can you recommend another DJ?
Okay. Let's take a look here. Sam, what's going on, Sam? By the way, if you don't know, Sam does music edits, so you should probably follow Sam because he's got some really good music edits. I'm sure. Ouch. I mean, one of the good things about I do music edits too, but one of the good things is, a lot of people, I run into the same thing where you finally get to a point where you're like willing to show your edits and your work, but there's always something in the back of your head that's like, it's not ready. It's not ready. Well, a lot of the times it is ready and you just, for whatever reason, lack the confidence to send it out. Sam sends stuff out left and right, and the majority of his stuff is good. So take a listen. I go on his Instagram. His name is Elevate, like Elevate 1111, I think, something like that. Anyway, Sam, you can throw it in the chat. Let people know who you are. Okay, let's take a look here. When does How to DJ Impaired come out on Amazon? You know, it's funny you'd say that. I've considered writing a book. I don't want to write a memoirs or something like that, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll go through all of these videos and I'll pick some chapters out and then I'll write a book on that. Who knows? I would have fun doing that if people aren't too thin-skinned. The difference is I'd want it to be the DJ's book, but as you've seen, I think I've shown you guys that we are more than just what we do. So anything that I teach or say is not just about DJing. It's about everything. It's about your life. And look, I'm going to say something flat out. Okay. I am nowhere near perfect. Nowhere. I work on myself all the time. All the time. I have bad days, good days. I have days when I'm like, I should have worked out today. I should have done this today. I should have worked on this project. I didn't do it. I procrastinated. I made excuses. I'm a human being just like everybody else, in all honesty. But I'd like to think that we're all human, but different life experiences breed new ways of interpreting information. And I've learned a lot over, the 40 plus years on this earth. And that's what this show is. Always has been. It's about learning. It's about growing together. Some people don't want to grow. Some people just want it to be a DJ show. I know this. I get it. It's just not in the cards. It's not just a DJ show. It's a life show. I want to help you in your life, not just in what equipment you buy. Equipment is fleeting. Okay? You get yourself a Hercules thing, and this is a controller that you start off with, and you love it, and everything is great, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I can't lift it, it's so heavy. I need a Flex 10. I need a Flex 10. If I get a Flex 10, everything's going to change, and I'm going to be better, and everything's going to grow, and I'm going to get all the clients in the world, and I'm going to do this. It's not how it works. And what you think is the best today is not the best tomorrow. For every Rev 7, there's a Rain Performer to something else, to something else, to something else. And while I love doing reviews and I love testing out gear and all that stuff, I also am fully aware that it's not going to make you a better DJ. I'm fully aware of this. That's why I hate that statement, because it is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Any car you buy, you're still driving like everybody else, whether it's a Ferrari or a Hyundai. It does not matter. So I want that part in between all the gear. I want you to enjoy what you're using. That's why I do the reviews. I want you to enjoy it. That doesn't mean anything, though, in the grand scheme of things. I can have all the bells and tools and fun stuff known to man. But if you can't DJ, if you don't learn your craft, if you don't have the discipline, if you don't have the work ethic, it's never going to matter. It's never going to matter. I get really, really busy, so I can't be like fixated on one thing, which is why I've never been the greatest scratch DJ known to man. I don't even know if I'm capable of it, but I've never had the time to do it. Not that I haven't had the time, I just prioritized it in a way that it's not the top of my list. Then I see people like Priya and Joni, who'll take, one of these guys, or Or I'll watch DJ Dynamics, and he'll take one of these and he'll do a routine that is better than most people that have $30,000 worth of DJ equipment. And then I say, it's not the gear. But we all know it's not the gear. So on this channel, we try to get away from that whole, it's not about the gear, it's about how you drive, not the stick shift, it's how you drive, whatever. That's a given. We should never have to say that. You know, when a new piece of gear comes out and everybody's raving about it, and then I look on this in the comments and people are just like, it's not the gear, all this. We know. That's irrelevant though. That is the prerequisite to having the gear, is knowing how to DJ. I mean, what's the point? And this took a long time too. Honesty. It took a long time to truly understand it. Some people understood it well before I did. What's the point of having the best gear, right? Got a Flex 10 back here, considered, one of the best controllers. What's the point of having the best controller if you only spin 2 decks and you don't use any of the features? What's the point of having it if you don't learn that board inside and out? Like, what's the point? The baseline is you should know how to DJ. Okay, that's the baseline. Now, that baseline of you should know how to DJ, prerequisite to our profession, applies to any piece of gear you'll ever use. Meaning that if I know how to DJ, and I know how to DJ effectively, okay, not just like, I learned how to hit the sync button, but I learned how to DJ. There's no piece of gear that I can't use and still throw a successful event. Not one piece of gear. Now, your DJing may change depending on the gear you use, but it should never affect your ability to mix one track with the next. Now, here's the difference with equipment. Equipment won't make you a better DJ. Okay? But the right tool for the right job can put you on a level that it is above other DJs. Does this make sense? So, like, let's say, for instance, I'm rocking, Technics MK3s and a Rain 57. Okay. Maybe I'm even rocking a 56 in a Serato box. Okay. I can rock that party. It'll be just fine. Now, what are the things that I don't have? Well, I don't have stems. I maybe don't have the effects. I may be lacking some things, some loops and all these things. Now, none of those things can make you a better DJ, but using the right tools can expand your ability to DJ. Now you can do more. Now maybe you're rocking 4 decks, or maybe you got an acapella on one side, you got a whole new beat on the other side, and you're scratching something else. Hey, that's the joy of DJing and artistry. It's however you perceive it. But you never know. So when I take something like a Rev 7, like a Rain Performer, like an Opus Quad, and people are like, I can still get by with 2 turntables and a mixer. Yeah, we know. We all can. But did you know that by using this piece of gear, I now can do this thing? Well, that's cool. Yeah, isn't it? And because it's cool, because of this feature, I can now incorporate this feature into my mixing style and opens up my style. Before, when I used to mix, I'd have to go out and make edits for this. I'd have to make an edit where it goes from this part to this part and then breaks into an acapella, maybe just a bass line. That way I could do the routines that I want. Yeah, okay. Cool. But now, because of stems and because of this, I can do that stuff on the fly. So now I can make any situation better on the fly. That's what technology is supposed to do. Technology is supposed to just make you better at what you are already good at. It's not supposed to replace. It's not supposed to give you this kind of unrealistic sense that you're better than you are. And that's the only thing. And I know this is the argument. Well, yeah, it's doing all this stuff. You have all these technology and sync and this and DJ, and it's got the continuous mixing and the effects on the fader. So it just looks like you're doing more. But you can't do that if you were on regular turntables. And yes, we know. Right now, that's why you need to do both. You'll never hear me tell you that I don't think that everybody should be able to DJ or should not be able to DJ on turntables. Everybody should be able to use turntables. Now, I'm not asking you to be Scratch Bastard, but everybody should be able to DJ off turntables. Everybody should be able to drive stick shift, whether or not you ever drive a stick, but you should be able to drive stick shift. So, in the event that something happens and the world is burning and you need to get in a car to drive out of the city to save you and your family, but you can't because it's a stick shift, you should be able to drive anything. Oh, okay. A lot of energy, a lot of brain power this morning. I never know where my brain's going to be when I start the show. I never know where my brain is going to be. Sometimes I'm sitting here and words just don't want to come out. Like it's in my head. I know it's there, but they don't want to come out sometimes. But there are days like this where stuff's just flowing and I can't stop the flow to talk about DJ gear. Can't stop that flow. We're on a train. You got to ride it. And I'm hoping that that's why you guys are here. And I'm hoping that you guys are still telling people to watch the show. I'm telling you guys, this isn't ego. This show can be valuable to a lot of people. Can be valuable. Not because, oh, it's Cleveland Terry and he's great. No, just because I don't think in general we do a good enough job of talking about what we deal with. We don't do a good enough job about that. You know when we talk about things like this, you know when we do? It happens once, twice, 3 times a year. And that's when you guys take the money and you buy a ticket to DJ Expo. You buy a ticket to Harvest of Sound. By the way, I'm going to be at Harvest of Sound. I'm going to put the code, because there's a discount right now. I'm going to put the code on my IG. So Cleveland Terry with the _. Follow me there. I'm going to throw that up in my stories today. There is a discount code for Harvest of Sound in Boston for December. So if you buy now, you're going to save a good amount of money. But that is really the only time that we take things away and try to put them into practice. That was a really good session. That guy said some really good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and use some of that stuff. Now, the question is always, do you actually use the stuff when you leave the conference? I'm going to say a lot of people don't. And there's a reason why a lot of people don't. All right. The reason that we don't put it into practice is because it takes multiple days and a lot of consistency to turn something into a habit. So the information may be amazing. Okay? But then you leave, and by the time you get home, you have forgotten about it. You left feeling good, but you didn't put anything into practice. So this show, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, you let me know in the chat if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, this show is a reminder of all the things you need to put into practice. So then you can put those things into practice, and then it can be reinforced every Thursday. So by the time you're a month or two out, it's a habit, and you didn't even realize you made it a habit. That's what this show is to me. It's not just about DJ equipment. It's about creating positive habits that we can take with us and use in the real world. I don't want to be just a talking head. Oh, he's funny. He makes rants, and that's cool. But did you get anything out of the show? Because if you're not getting anything out of the show, and look, I get it, rants can be entertainment, so you're getting entertainment out of it. But if you're not getting things out of the show, then we are both doing a disservice to one another. And that's it. And I will never apologize for that. If you want the DJ show that just talks about gear all day, it's never going to be this show, because I didn't want it to be this show. Could have, obviously, easily. It's not what I wanted. I want to show you can connect. You can connect to. Mixmaster says, still need to speak about Amsterdam dance event. Trust me, its impact is huge. Okay, we might have to bring that on. Maybe we can talk about it. We can do it next week. And I know you have your show too. So, obviously, if you want to talk there, let me know when you're going to do it. I'll come watch the show. DJ Stan, the weight of the turntables and mixer and vinyl records too much weight to carry around nowadays, especially if you're an older guy. Rain Performer and Pioneer Rev seems to make sense for you. I agree with that. I agree. It's supposed to make life easier, not harder. And I've said that if I have to get something that's super big and super heavy, it's not making my life easier physically, so I don't want it. Exactly. Okay. You always keep it real for George. Okay. I would never play without my turntables. Fair enough. 9:56 p.m. Well, thank you for hanging out at 9:56 p.m. For me, it's only 11:58 a.m. So, we all have our things. I appreciate you hanging out. I know that there are different time zones, and I'm always like, for me, it's like, oh, it's so early. And for you guys, it's like, I'm about to go to bed. I'll listen to you before I go to bed. Like, well, that's dope. Maybe you can dream about me. Don't dream about me. That's weird. Don't do that. All right, let's see here. Belt-driven turntables. Love that. I'm only interested in a new piece of gear to get used to the Pioneer ecosystem. Otherwise, I'd be happy to play on my Denons for the next 20 years. I have friends to this day that are still rocking TTM 57s and MK2s and a 2010 MacBook Pro. And they are exceptionally happy. So to each their own. Would I be happy? No, I'm a tech guy. I want the best tech, but I also know, I know that tech is for me, not for anybody else. And it's a personal thing, which is why I never understand why people come on streams or reviews and they talk all kinds of trash about a piece of gear because they don't like it. But that's it. You don't like it. It's not for you. It might be for somebody else. Opus Quad is a perfect example. People hated the Opus Quad. And then they went to NAMM. Then they went to these trade shows and they're like, hey, it's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good device. And people were buying it. It's not for everybody, but it is for somebody. Okay, let's see here. Any more questions? See, it's almost 12 o'clock. We just had a full on, like, this is a podcast without you. I could release this as a normal podcast and release it out there. Is there an XZ2? I don't know. Is there? I have no idea. And if I did have any idea, this guy with the NDAs. So I have no idea. I am a Rain guy, but I would take a Rev 7 over Rain. Fair enough. I think that it's okay to like both of them. I think they are both fantastic controllers. Fantastic. I've sent plenty of gear back that I didn't like. I do like the Rain Performer, but I also keep my Rev 7. And my argument for why the Rain Performer is in my furniture versus the Rev 7 is very simple. The Rev 7 is lighter. So that's now my go-to portable that I keep in my glide bag that I can take anywhere, do a party. Sometimes I have events where, they already supplied the DJ booth and potentially the speakers, and I just need to bring my deck. I have that actually coming up in a couple of weeks. This one venue called Playa Studios. They have a booth. They have their own speakers because of their sound ordinance, and I just plug in. So normally, prior to the Rain Performer, I would have to take like a DDJ 1000. Nothing wrong with the 1000. It's a good board. I'm no longer interested in the 1000 for me specifically. But I love using the Rev 7. So now I have the best of both worlds. So I think you can absolutely do both. Absolutely. Let's see. Day Night says, as a school asked me to DJ for their event, I was thinking of using my company LLC to do it. Can I advertise that as a write it off? Okay, good question. All right, so it depends on what you're providing and the cost. So we do a lot of school events. School events never have the budgets that we normally charge. I know there's certain people that are like, I charge full price regardless. More power to you. I am not a heartless man. And I know that school budgets vary from school to school. Legitimately. There's some schools, we have a minimum now after COVID just because I can't get DJs to do it for anything less. But there's some schools that can legitimately pay $500 for a couple of hours. That's their budget. And then I have some schools that'll pay $2,000 for the same couple of hours. So it's not my job to potentially put myself out by charging not enough or charging too much, and now they're offended and now they're going somewhere else. Now, you have to figure out for yourself what that school event is going to do for you. Okay? It's always marketing. So we're talking about advertising and marketing. It's always marketing. So if you're doing a school event, like we don't do every school event. We do a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs. So the schools that have a huge Jewish population, if they have a lower budget, we do it regardless because we're going to get clients from those events. The kids are going to go home. They're going to tell their parents. Maybe their parents were there. Maybe their parents pick them up at the end of the party, and they tell their families. They tell their friends. Next thing you know, we have more bookings. We saw you at this school. Happens all the time. Then there are other schools that we never get any bookings out of, but their budgets are good. Now, we've had lots of people, and I'll go back to what I was saying. Say, hey, you know what? We only have this. Can you sponsor the rest of it? So you can take what you would normally bill for a regular client and then basically write off the extra money. So let's say if you were going to charge normally $2,000, but they can only pay $500, you're going to write off $1,500 of that, and you're going to need your LLC for that. I mean, technically, you can still write it off even under your regular social, but from a business perspective, in reality, you really want to have everything operate under your corporate account. You have more write-off ability under your corporate account than you do for your personal. Yes, you can still do it, but if you were trying to get a little more creative in your accounting, it's a lot easier to hide away under your corporate than it is your personal. Typically speaking, yeah, we do write-offs. Sometimes we just do lower amounts and we don't write it off. It's not that big of a deal. And it's all good, but it just depends on the value. Now, back to what I was saying, and then we can move on. I do not dictate what a school does. I say flat out when they're like, hey, we have a school event. Okay, cool. What's your entertainment budget? What can you afford? Let's start with what you can afford. And I always say the same thing. Look, our prices are higher than usually what a school can afford. What is your budget for this? Oh, well, we have, and look, I let them tell me. It's not my job to tell them how much they can afford. My only job is to tell them if it's too low for what I can afford. Okay? You should have minimums. Everybody should have a bottom line that'll get you out the door, or that will have you send one of your DJs, if you're a multi-op, to that event. There should be a line. My line, I think, is around, I think the lowest we charge now is around $550 or $600. That's the lowest. Oh, well, our budget's only $3. I can't even send a DJ there for that price, unfortunately. Okay, well, let me see what I can do. Okay, we managed to scrape it together. Okay, cool. Now, this isn't me being an asshole. I'm just trying to make money. I'm not making money off of this. I'm sending my DJ. My DJ is getting paid. I'm making very little amount, but my DJ still works. My DJ gets practice. I like to send a lot of newer DJs to these events. So it's like training. So it's also, money that I'm technically writing off for my business because it's training. So I will send them. If I say, what's your budget? And they say, well, last year we paid $1,400. Okay, let's start there then. Or, okay, we can match that. You can? Thank you. It's not my job. You get it? So we have to be honest with the client and honest with ourselves. If we're not able to do something, you got to be honest up front. Now I can't go for that low. Well, what's your minimum? That's irrelevant. What can you afford? Once I tell you that it's below your minimum, then you can tell me your minimum. But I would never say the minimum I can go is $500. Now, what's your budget? That's dumb. That's dumb. Because they're going to tell you right after that, $550. Don't paint yourself into a corner. It's negotiations at all times. And look, remove the school out of this. Just talk to a regular client. I can't tell you how many clients have tried to swindle me. Swindle me. How low can you go? What's your best offer? What's your best number? My best number is what's on the paper. Well, okay, but I can only afford this. Okay, well, let's figure out how we can make that work. But I'm not just going to arbitrarily give you a cheaper number just because you want to price match me with other companies. I'm not doing that. I'm not an idiot. By the way, that's what they're doing, in case you didn't know this. When they ask you what's the lowest price you can go, they're going to take that number and they're shopping around and they're going to tell the next person, well, they can go this low. Can you go lower? Oh, you can? Okay, maybe I'll go back to the other company. So, when they say, what's the lowest price? I'll say, what can you afford? What's your lowest price? It's not your job to make them feel like they got one over on you. It's a business. No matter how much we try, no matter how happy, no matter how sweet and kind we're on the phone, that never changes. Remember what I said. It never changes the fact that a contract has no emotion. Your pricing has no emotion. Now, their reaction to your pricing can be an emotional one, but that has nothing to do with you. How they react to what you're selling is out of your control. So let's not try to put ourselves into a position where, we can't afford to feed our families because somebody's a little uncomfortable about your price. You have your minimums, and so do they. Hope I answered your question. He won't be jealous. Phil will be just fine. Phil operates on his own. I like Phil. I do. And I like what he says. And I like the things he posts on like IG and Reels and TikTok. Like I do like what he says. It does feel to me though that he's changed his stance a little bit in a good way. Before it felt like he was, what's the word I want to say? Because he's always been opinionated, but I think now he's gone more open-minded, but still opinionated, and I think it's working for him. I do. And he's also been saying things. He never used to just give opinions that might bother somebody, but he does it now, and I do appreciate that. Okay. Marcos, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Sorry work gets in the way. I feel the same way sometimes. Okay, let's see. Let's go back down. I need a roller mouse. Okay. Funny you're live right now as I was checking out on your video on the DJ Flex 10 podcast. You're looking at DJ board for live event hosting. Hey, every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm on every single Thursday. And if I'm not on that Thursday, it's because my wife made me do something that I didn't want to do. That's usually the only time. Now, our anniversary was a whole different thing. But in general, it's because my wife has made things. It has taken this long for me to tell her, like, you cannot book things on Thursday for me. Well, it's just nope. This is consistency. This is like flossing or brushing your teeth daily, where you're just like, you know what? I hate flossing. You got to floss. And even on the days where I don't want to do a show, even on those days, and trust me, there are multiple times that I don't want to do the show. Today, I woke up going, oh, okay. But then I got moving. And, I think the issue is the reason why sometimes I don't feel like doing the show has nothing to do with you guys. It has to do with the fact that it takes a lot of energy to do this show. It does. I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me or anything like that, but it takes a lot of energy when it's just you for 2 hours making up a story as you go. These aren't pre-written podcasts. These aren't things that I've just said. I turn on the stream, and when I go from this to this, I still don't know what I'm going to say until we start up. I mean, I could probably have more story beats. I know that about me, but I like it to be raw, uncut, uncensored. I think it means more. Anyway, Renee says, "Oh, that number is with no sound system. Who will bring one?" look, I mean, the bottom line here is that again, I am not telling you what your minimums need to be. Your minimums are your minimums. If you're like, this is what I will do at this price and I won't go any lower, because if I go any lower, now I got to rent a vehicle, there's gas, there's transportation costs, there's my time. All of these things factor into whatever your bottom line is. Now, I'm fortunate, okay? Because I can take some of these small ass parties that I don't care about, that I would never do on my own. I personally wouldn't walk out of the house at no amount of hours for under $500. I would absolutely not leave the house. I have minimums. You know, my minimum typically, my minimum is typically, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I won't do anything for the most part for under about $1,000. If somebody wants me to come, oh, can you DJ my party? Can you, it's 4 hours at the house, blah, blah, blah. Still going to cost you $1,000. I had a person just recently say, oh, we have an event in Santa Monica. I'd done their party before, which was a small little event in a parking lot in Camarillo. It was post-COVID. It was 2 hours and I didn't have to bring anything. It was just like a couple of battery powered speakers and my little ass controller. And I charged them like $700 because they asked me to like go another half hour or so. So I ended up charging them like $700. It was fine. It was easy work, whatever. It's down the road from me. Not a big deal. Same company calls me. Okay. And says, hey, we're doing an event in Santa Monica on a Friday night. It's 4 hours, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can give it to you for $1,000, which is still cheap in my book. If I was doing it for my company, it'd be a lot more money. All right. So it's still $1,000. We can only afford $600. Then you can't afford me. Now, I know people are going to be like, well, I mean, it was still $600. You didn't have that $600 before that day. It's not about that. It's about principle. And my principle has a bottom line. And if we're not friends, we don't know each other like that, right? Or I don't have a relationship with somebody at that venue. Maybe it's like my kid's school or, it's my temple stuff and I do for like dirt cheap, that's a different story. But if I don't know you and you're calling me to book something, I'm not leaving my house, especially I'm in Simi Valley. So a Friday night going to Santa Monica is going to take me at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then I still have to set up. So I got to be there a couple hours before. I still got to set up, do the normal thing. Then I DJ the event. I got to break down. Then I got to drive home, which will probably take me 45 minutes to an hour now. Okay. So that's a long time. Even if it's 3 hours, that's still 3, 5, 7 hours. Okay. And I make more than that per hour. Bottom line. Now, everybody is different. Okay. Your number is not necessarily my number. And that's okay. If you're fine with taking that one party and you're working 5 hours for $250, fine. I'm going to tell you, you're underpricing yourself and you're putting yourself into a position to where you can't charge more. I'm going to say that if your bottom line is I'll take any gig, because that stuff wraps around. We used to do a school in LA. And it happened to be because one of my MCs, who was secretly stealing clients from us, one of my MCs always did their parties. They didn't have any money. Their budget was like $350. Okay. But again, he was willing to take less for this for a certain amount of time because he was stealing our clients. And I was just sending out practice DJs. So it was just good on the job training is what it was. And I tell schools this left and right because they're like, hey, can you do our event? I'm like, I won't do your event, but I'm going to send one of my rookie DJs and my rookie MCs to go practice on your event for this price. And they're like, well, I know they're still good. They're still going to be good, but they need practice. So I send them. So to me, that is a training cost. Now, back to the story. They kept wanting super cheap. Okay. $350. We got them up to, I think, $450. And then finally we were just like, we're not doing this anymore. You can't afford us. And that's okay. And I had to do that. And this is the reason, because every time we would do this event, I was going to say community, but that's not the word I wanted to say. I guess the department that managed the cost would tell everybody, we only paid $350 for them. We only paid $400 for them. So then those clients would call me to book an event. Hey, we have a bar mitzvah coming up in a year. We want to use your services. Cool. Here's our prices. Wait a minute. Those prices are way different than what you pay at Community Magnet. I know, because it's a school. We're not making any money off the school, but you are having a real party, so you're going to have to pay. No. You got to come down. No, I don't. You can't afford me. I don't understand. If you're charging them this, it's the same amount of hours. Why can't we pay this? Because it's not the same type of party. And no. The answer is no. I'm sorry you can't afford us. But it has nothing to do with me. Anyway, DJ Teddy says, am I wrong if I charge full price for close friends or family for parties? Okay, this is a very good question. Okay, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. And I firmly believe that in general, your family and friends should value the work you do and pay you for it. I believe that. That doesn't make it realistic, though. Now, there are different ways to come about this. So for me, I take it away from them. I take it away. I charge half of what I charge to anybody else, to any close friend or family. Half. I take half off, which is still a great price. And I take half off, so I'm still able to at least break even, but usually make some form of a profit. And then anything that I don't have to pay for, and this is how they get their money's worth. Any friend or family, if I have gear that I don't have to pay for, I'll throw it in. So if they're like, oh, I want some uplights around the room, done. I need a projector for video montage, done. Anything that doesn't cost me money, I'll do. So that's the way they get their value added from my services. I have a professional friend right now that my kids are in their dance program, and they do, but they have stuff too. And they're like, well, they understand that you need to pay people what they're worth, or they're not going to give you their best. Okay. Which is, I agree. You should pay people what they're worth. Like, you shouldn't take advantage of your friends. I mean, it's one thing for your friend to be like, hey, I'll give you a 25% discount. But you shouldn't be asking for a discount. Hey, can you take care of me? Can you do that? Because you wouldn't want them to do that to you. So I nip it in the bud. I just give the discount regardless if you ask or not. That way, we're both comfortable with the number. Because it's never comfortable when your friends are like, hey man, can you do this? Can you do this? I was hoping you'd come down a little more. I was hoping, well, then they don't respect you. They don't respect you. They don't respect your business. I love when my friends are like, don't charge me less. Charge me what you normally charge everybody else. Because they want that same, they want that reciprocation when you do something from them. And they'd rather pay the money. But I've always given family and friends deals. I just did my cousin's. I didn't do my cousin's wedding. My company did my cousin's wedding. Normally, for the package they asked for, which included ceremony sound, uplighting around the room, photo booth, DJ and MC, that normal package, I believe, I'm just rounding off right now, I don't know, $4,500 to $5,000, something like that. Something like that. I don't know. They paid like $1,600. And I'm okay with that because I'm still breaking even. I'm not losing money, and it's my cousin. So I'm going to take care of my cousin, but my cousin also needs to know that, you know, you're still going to pay something. You're still going to pay something. And you need to pay enough to where you feel it. Because if you don't feel it, I don't believe you appreciate it. Which goes back to the first part of my show. When you're taking advantage of people, you never feel like they're giving you their 100%. There's nobody in the world that feels like if they got screwed over, they're going to deliver the product you expect. It just doesn't exist. They're going to be there. They're going to give you something, but it's not going to be if you paid them what they're worth. It's never going to be that. Absolutely, George. You know, DJs are always considered, which always just like, it boggles the mind to me. It boggles the mind to me when they're like, oh, we can only afford a DJ for like $800 for this wedding that happens to be 7 hours and ceremony and all this stuff. We can only afford that. Why can you only afford that? Well, because, you know, I mean, anybody can DJ, anybody can press play. Oh, that's what it is? That's what you think? Okay, cool. Well, go ahead and hire that mediocre DJ, and then you tell me if there's a difference. When your entire family and friends leave and there's still 2 hours to go on your event, you tell me if there's a difference between a bargain basement DJ or a professional that charges more. You tell me if there's a difference. If there's not a difference, then that professional DJ is overcharging. But, you know, money-wise, you know, Miyagi just said this. People pay $1,000, over $1,000 for a cake. It is what it is. You think Rain will come out with moving platter engine and battle style A Brother Can Dream? Hey, that's a dream that I hope for. In all honesty, I hope for that dream. I hope they do come out with one. I've said this. I will continue to say this, and I know they listen. If they came out with a moving platter, even a 2-channel, like a 2-channel moving platter engine OS hardware that could also run Serato, I truly believe it's going to sell like hotcakes. Which I never know where that story came from, selling like hotcakes. I mean, why is that the reference? Anyway, it's going to sell like crazy because you'd have people like me that would flat out say, you get the best of both worlds. You get Engine OS, it's your backup. You can run engine lighting through it. So now you have your sound switch. Everything's built in. All your music's right there. You just turn the power on and start DJing. You can DJ in pretty much any environment. Heat doesn't matter. It's just yours. And you got your moving platters. And if you don't want to use engine, you can still plug in your computer. You can still plug in your computer and use Serato or DJ or virtual DJ. Sell like hotcakes. I truly believe that. Kenny, what phrase? I need to know what phrase. I say a lot of stuff. Trust me. I don't remember half the stuff I say. I personally, and this is any system, any company, Alpha Theta, Engine, any company, if there was a 2-channel record box all in one that could also do record box and Serato, I would be on that thing like crazy. So if Rain can come out with one, if Pioneer DJ, that would be my go-to controller, because I'm getting everything I need. I'm getting a backup for safety. You know, I'm getting all my options. If I don't want to use that, it's literally would be the best controller. No matter which one does it. If it's record box, I mean, if it's Alpha Theta, or if it's Engine, in all honesty. I do prefer Engine lighting over record box lighting, but it's still there. I would tell everybody and their mama, sell everything you own and buy this controller. Obviously, if it's on the up and up. Like if they gave me like a Rain 1 that was a little larger and had Engine OS screen in the middle with internal effects, obviously. I'd probably be rocking a Rain 1, in all honesty, if it had Engine in it. There's just something to be said about knowing that you have that peace of mind. You know, there's just something to be said. Okay. Sound Insurgent says, and I'll answer this, and I do want to say I did see some super chats come through, and I want to thank the super chat people for taking care of me today. Look, this is how I run this show, off of my memberships and off of my super chats. So anything you guys can do to support the channel, the super chats are great for this. It just shows appreciation. Being members comes with special perks. Anytime I drop a video, you actually get immediate release. Everybody else has to typically wait a day or so before it. I'm also even considering, let me know in the chat if you would like this idea. I also even consider doing a extended video that maybe has more like stuff that's going to get me demonetized in a members only video. So maybe like, let's just say, for instance, just throwing a name out. I do a Rain 1, right? We're going back to 2020. I do a Rain 1 and I talk about all the good things, but now I want to start showing you all the features, and I want to use commercial music and that kind of stuff that is going to get me demonetized. I can do that on the member one, but I can't do that on the regular one. It's going to generate, 30 to 50,000 views. I can't have a 50,000 view video that is demonetized. I can't have that. That would break my heart. But for my members, I'd be more than happy to do it because you guys are supporting me and your dollars are going towards stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, okay. Do you feel your love of tech has hindered you as a DJ in any way, like being a jack of all trades, master of none, for lack of a better term? Okay, this is a great question. This is a great question. All right. So, okay, I'm not going to talk DJ specifically. I'm going to talk production. So, music production, DJing, they all kind of operate in the same league. It's all kind of gear heavy, gear crazy. And, new thing comes out. Oh, it can do this. It can do that. So you want to grab that, whatever. Oh, new Ableton comes out. It can do all this. Oh, great. I got to have that. And then you get that program and you still only use surface level stuff. Okay. I specifically have gone back to the MPC. I have an MPC Live 2 here. Now, I have Ableton. I have a Push. I have Logic. I have controllers for days to be able to run my stuff. Ask me how many times I have used Ableton. And I upgrade every year. I barely scratch the surface. I've used Serato Studio more than I've used Ableton. Now, here's the problem with me specifically. And if this is you, hey, we're, in the same boat. The problem is I get option paralyzation. When I have too many options for things, it actually stops me from really utilizing a program. Because there's something to be said about being limited in what it is that you have, making you more creative, making you look at things differently and find avenues and ways to circumvent or to get around the problem that you have. There's something to be said about doing that. And the same applies to DJ equipment. You can have all the DJ equipment in the world, but a lot of times people don't even realize that, they see this new feature on this new product and they're like, oh my God, that's great. I'm like, you can do that on your 1000 too. You can do that on this, but you never took the time to learn the equipment. So I think for me specifically, especially with all the reviews I do and all the stuff, I've gotten to a point where I'm reviewing less because it wasn't affecting my shows, but I felt like it was because I was always using a new something. So I never really truly could really get myself involved in things. So it absolutely can affect you the more tech you have. Absolutely. That's why for me, I've pretty much settled, like I said, on the Rain Performer and my Danny Max furniture and the Rev 7 for my go-to for everything else. And if I do start DJ streaming, the Rev 7 will be up here because it's smaller. It's easier to just throw up on the table, do my thing. But absolutely. So the gear, I went back to the MPC Live because there wasn't so many options. You spend okay. When was the last time any of you, watched a movie or a TV show and knew you wanted to watch it immediately? Not something that they're promoting and it finally comes to streaming or whatever, but let's just say you have all of your channels. How many people are like me, okay, that spend an hour just going through previews, and then by the time you get to the end, you didn't even watch anything? How many people are like that? Because when there are too many options, you get paralyzed. You end up not doing anything. So I think, which is so funny, because I tell all my clients this, every time a client's like, I want to do all this and I want to bring this in and I want to do this and do that and bring in all this and all these extra vendors and all that. And like, what do you think? And I say, less is more. What do you mean? Less is more. It means that in general, the more stuff you bring in, the harder it is to keep your people entertained. I know that seems backwards, but that's absolutely what happens. You just become a vendor in a very large production. So what kind of party do you want? Well, I want them dancing all night. Then less is more. The more you offer them, the more places they have to go, the more they will do that. Less is more. And we've gotten into this habit of thinking we need everything and then not using anything. For my production stuff, I spent hours either because I don't know the system, going through things and taking way too much time because I just didn't sit down and just learn whatever it was. Okay. Or I spent 3 days just going through sounds. That's a cool sound. That's a cool sound. That's a cool sound. I don't want to make the wrong choice and choose the wrong sound. Like, you can't just change it anytime you want. Same thing with DJ gear. And I have a shit ton of gear, but now I have settled. My gear is very, very simple. Okay. In all honesty, people are like, what are you using? Very simple. Now, is it some of the best stuff out there? Yes, I understand that. It's a perk of what I do and the perk of having a successful DJ company. Okay. But my Danny Max furniture, absolutely love it. Won't go back. Okay. I mean, I've used like, the Pro X all-in-one builds every so often for certain things, but like my Danny Max booth, that's the one I use. Now, are there others out there? Absolutely. Are there others that are just as good? Yes. But for me, the booth, that's what I use, Danny Max booth. Secondly, I really only have 2 sets of speakers now. My QSCs, the 118s and the K12s, and my LDs, my 28 G3s. I go back and forth with those 2. I have tons of speakers in the warehouse. Don't need them. I'm good. My gear, I use a Rain Performer or I use a Rev 7. My lighting, I have the Humpter stands, which I love, and some movers or the gig bar. I have so many movers, and I found myself going, I'm going to try this mover. I'm going to try this mover. But the problem is, you never really learn that mover. A lot of people think that like, oh, I need a better light. I need a different mover. This one isn't doing what I need. Is it not doing what you need, or do you just not know how to access the features? Because there's a difference. I want to know everything. Right now, I am going through three different lighting controllers. I'm rocking the WMX, I'm rocking Sound Switch, and I'm rocking Maestro right now. 3 different. My lighting, I'm testing out Ape Labs lights and their control and all the other things. So something is going to be affected when I'm never truly using it to its capacity. So I know this is like anti-tech review, but honestly, before you buy something new, make sure that you've learned from the stuff you already have and you've reached its maximum. Back in my Pro Tools days, when I used to engineer and stuff, and Pro Tools was like, it's still the gold standard, but like it was the only thing you would ever work on. Back in my Pro Tools days, I would get like, oh, I got the inbox. Okay, now I need a new inbox. Okay, now I need this other thing. Oh, this has a control surface with inbox built in. Oh, let me just get all this stuff. But I never maxed out what I had before. Like, there's a difference between like if you have a controller and the sound quality is not that good, or the faders are trash, or every so often it glitches on you and you're just like, okay, this is just not a good controller. I need to upgrade. But once you upgrade to, anything $1,000 or more in general, you should not have any problems after that. So just learn what you have before you upgrade. Now, the only caveat is, when the moving platters came out, because that made sense. Like I'm rocking a 1000. I never really liked the strip style effects. It's just not my thing. But, I mastered that thing. I got it to where it needed to be. Then the moving platters came out. I didn't even think. I'm like, moving platters, that's where I'm going. That's a difference. Okay. But if people are like, there are people right now, they're like, well, I have a Rev 7. Should I get the Rain Performer? I'm like, no. Well, no. You don't need the Rain Performer. Now, if you want it, or if you're coming from something else, that's different. But if your argument is, well, the Rain Performer is better than the Rev 7, it is a slightly silly argument because it's based upon the evolution of a product, the evolution of equipment. Things should always get better as you go through and as new updates come along. They should always get better. But just because something's better, iPhone, iPad, I still have my 2018 M1 iPad Pro. They've come out with 3 iterations. 3 iterations. I still haven't updated. The new ones with the OLED, I almost updated and I probably will. And there's only 2 reasons why I would update. Not because the M1 processor is bad. It still does everything I need it to. But for 2 reasons. One, the screen is gorgeous. And on the iPads, the camera sits vertical. It sits at the top. Like this. It sits at the top. Okay? On the new iPads, since most people use it this way in landscape, the camera used to be on the side, and that was annoying as hell. Now they put it at the top. Little things like that are the reason that I update. And in all honesty, after I update to that, I probably will not update, I don't know, for at least 10 years. At least. My M1 MacBook Pro. The only way I'll update my M1 MacBook Pro is if 2 things, and it doesn't necessarily take one or the other, but both would be amazing. I want Face ID in the camera. I'm dropping frames. I'm trying to see when it's going to come back. There we go. There we go. We should be better now. So learn what you have, master what you're using, and then go from there. I guess you guys are going to unsubscribe to my channel now. He's right. I don't need new stuff. And then he's out. Sound Surgeon, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, fam. Marianne, thank you so much for the super chat. If I knew how to do math in euros, I would know exactly what you gave me, but I appreciate anything that people can do. So thank you so much. And then there was one more. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Can I filter down to my super chats? Filter messages that are from members. Donations. Oh, they got rid of it. I know there was a $20 one on there. I saw it. I just want to tell you I appreciate you, but I can't go back to where it was. And I am sorry that I did not acknowledge you when you put it in. Let's see if I can at least... Chaos Jones with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And let's see. There we go. Manfred Zavala with the $20 super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you. Honestly, appreciate you guys. Every one of you. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. Pop QC. Include gig bar. If you include whatever you want. All right. Michael says, the more family friends pay, it seems like the more they think they can get from you. Seems to be more like a problem than outside clients. Absolutely, Michael. Absolutely. Your family and friends will try to take advantage of you. Absolutely. But you have to set the rules. That's why I'm saying set the rules in your favor so they don't have to argue with you. Set those rules. This is what I charge for family and friends. Whatever that number is. For the longest time, I charged... For close family and friends, I charge $1,000, no matter what it was. It's gone up after the pandemic to about $1,500. I'm comfortable with that. I can still pay my crew. I can still pay for all my overhead, and there's a little bit of money for profit. But I'm not trying to earn a living off my family. I'm just trying to give them what they want and me be able to do it. That's it. That's it. You earn a living off people you don't know. Not your family. In my opinion, everybody's different. Okay. Too many features get in the way of performance. I'm just getting into STEM. So much fun. Absolutely. 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 All right. one more, and then I got to get out of here because I do have a 1 o'clock call. I'm thinking Apple Intelligence and the resource it needs are going to slowly force a lot of updates. Only iPhone 15 Pro or newer. Well, yes, that is true. And I do have an iPhone 15, and I got the iPhone. Why did I get the iPhone 15? Oh, because the Pro Max feels like the regular size one. That's why I bought it. But yes, I will get AI. The M1 iPads will get AI. Basically, it has to be an M1. But yeah, the more it goes, that's how they're going to get you to upgrade. Ooh, well, this new feature that could have worked on the other processor, it needs this processor in order to make it work. We know it's bullshit. We know. It's Apple's claim to fame. You know, they got to find ways to make people upgrade. So I know this. But if it's valuable to you, only then do you upgrade. But if you think that any equipment is going to make you a certain way, 90% of the time it doesn't. There's a couple times where you'll buy something and you'll be like, oh my God, it's just so much better. I agree. It's rare that I see that in DJ gear. Now, there is a thing that could happen, like for instance, for instance, the lighting gear, and I'm not going to talk Maestro because it operates in a different field than the other lighting companies out there. But let's just say you were looking at Sound Switch and you were looking at the WMX1. A lot of people would be like, oh, well, you know, this one is clearly better than this one. This one does more than this one, so it's got to be better. I'm of the different mindset. I feel, and this is just me, okay? Everybody's different. And I think it's a little different if you're using like the engine software versus just like using SoundSwitch. I like SoundSwitch. I have one of the original boxes. This right here is the original SoundSwitch box. This box, I got during Kickstarter. Original SoundSwitch box. So nobody can tell me that I'm like, oh, well, you're just a hater, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not. Now, I have a Control One. I've used, Touch OSC. I've used all these things. Okay. All right. I'm so glad that I turned on Do Not Disturb, because this is the kind of stuff that would drive me nuts. Okay. Anyway. But here's the thing. Strange thing about the way I work. Every time I use SoundSwitch, I get frustrated. It has nothing to do with SoundSwitch. Well, I mean, it has everything to do with SoundSwitch, but the way that SoundSwitch works, for me specifically, is not the way my brain thinks. I prefer the WMX1 because it operates more like the way my brain thinks. So, doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means that my brain, I am a visual person. I like to be able to see things. And when you're dealing with a sound switch, do I have one here? I can't grab my WMX though. It's because it's in my warehouse. But when I grab this sound switch, as much as I like sound switch, and I start messing with it, I do not get the visual feedback that my brain needs to be able to operate it effectively. This does not mean I'm stupid. It just means that my brain works a certain way. So with the WMX, I can just do the stuff. I have visual feedback. It is the way it is. I don't just have random, blinking lights to tell me something is on, and now I got to figure out which one it is or why my loops aren't going the right way or why. Like, I don't love the visual feedback on this. So I've said if they can make one that's like this but has a WMX screen, who knows? But the WMX is one of those. Now, Maestro is this, the AI is kind of a hybrid of both of them in a certain way. And there are some things that if they can fix, add, do all the things, develop, I think it has the potential to be a really good piece of gear. Honestly, I truly believe that. I personally don't think it's ready for the masses right now. I think it's ready for a specific group of people, which is why I haven't reviewed it yet. I even told them, I'm like, there's a major update coming next month. I'm going to wait until that update comes before I review it. And they're like, okay, well, I told them, like, look, I need to be able to be honest with the product and with the review. And if I can't do that, it's not going to go well. So but I don't want to review a product knowing that it's not where it needs to be yet. So I will wait until the update, then I will test the update, and then I will tell you. They have some things on the horizon that sound really amazing. So I think that, by end of next year, we might be having a completely different conversation. We might have a completely different conversation 3 months from now. But today, I'm telling them that, yeah, I need to wait for another update. But it's if they can kill all the bugs that are in there, all the things that create issues for us mobile people that are in different venues, different frequencies, different wireless protocols, when they can do that. Because right now, I think the majority of people that they're selling to are like bands and performances where they're just like, here's my fixtures, do your thing. And for that, great. It's like turning on your gig bar, and your gig bar just does all the things. And you're like, I don't want to specify where it is. It's just dance lighting when we're dancing. Like that, that's fine. That's if you want. But all of a sudden when you're like, you know what? I want to be able to put this light here. I want to be able to have this light hold over here and maybe just have my washes on the main floor. I want to be able to do this. Well, that's when all of a sudden the gig bar starts to fail just off of the command ILS type stuff. So it just depends on your levels. That's it. Your power user or your regular person. That's what ILS is. And I think if Maestro does it correctly, that's what Maestro can be. Maestro can be the ILS for everyone else. Because the one problem with ILS devices is Chevy DJ. And I mean that in the best possible way. They have made an ecosystem that as long as you stay in that ecosystem, you're going to be great. But the moment you leave that ecosystem or you want to introduce new things, your whole system fails. Or you got to update every single thing that you own. I don't want to do that. There's nothing wrong with the, 100 uplights that I have in my warehouse. But in order to be able to use it with my command ILS, I gotta get ILS versions of my uplights. No, I don't think so. I'll do some things, like we got the free spot 60s. I'll do those. But in general, it's very dumbed down. It's a little too dumbed down for me specifically. But if you want to set it and forget it and you just want ease of use, gig bar, ILS, and even Maestro in its current form, nothing wrong with that's fine. But if you're going to be a power user, a lot of these things, I'm not saying the Maestro, because I think the Maestro is going to come around, but a lot of these things you're not going to be able to do, you know, with like ILS. And this is the ILS for everybody else. So I have high hopes for Maestro, because that's the argument. I'm like, I want to be able to run all of this with anything I have. That is the argument. Oh, and I will tell you this thing, and then I got to go, because I have a call right now. It is the gig bar ILS that they sent me. I have no idea where it came from. I have no idea, because when I was working with Minge from Maestro, we had a couple of live chats, and I'm like, look, I'm having trouble with just my gig bar. And he's like, oh, let's go through it. And he takes me through. He literally like rewrites my DMX channels in the Maestro. Come to find out, my specific gig bar has 50 channels, but the channels are in the wrong places. We found it out. Now it works properly. But there is a channel right around, I want to say like 36, that no other gig bar has. What the hell did they send me? I'm so confused. Anyway. I mean, yes and no. You know, I mean, look, I get it. This is I gotta go. I do have to go. But this is one of those things. It has audio detection, so you can use it by Maestro. What were you doing with SoundSwitch before? It always had auto detection. Now you're just being able to use it almost like a standalone. Almost. It was already there. If you were using SoundSwitch the way it was designed, it always had, you know, audio detection built in. No, I know this. My gig bar is in no country. No country. I've downloaded every single gig bar. No country. I have a 1 of 1 gig bar. Yes, Mystica. I know what you're saying. I know. Live audio detection. Fine. Were there a lot of people that were using SoundSwitch that needed live audio detection? Because I'm assuming, you know what happens when you make an assumption, that most people were using it within, Serato. Now, if you're not using Serato, like let's say you're using DJ, yes, that's when it comes into play, having that live auto detection. But once you have your live auto detection, remember, you're not using your scripts anymore. You're using the auto loops. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you can do it, but most people are going to use it based upon their scripts that are in there. You know, that's what I'm saying. I like the fact that there's auto loops in there, although you could do it with Ableton Link before. You know, now you have more options, but unlike Maestro, the one thing I will say, unlike Maestro, and then I gotta go. Okay. So the difference between, and I'm pretty sure that's what I got, is definitely a prototype. But the difference between Maestro, the WMX, and SoundSwitch, there are no analog inputs on here at all. There are analog inputs on the Maestro. There are analog inputs on the WMX, any version of WMX. So for those, you can plug in anything. Yes and no for SoundSwitch. You have auto detection, but you still are at the mercy of whatever sound card you have to use or your microphone on your computer. So it's not specifically the same. It's a workaround. It's a fix for something that they clearly saw people were complaining about. You know, why does the WMX have an audio in? Why does the Maestro have an audio in? I don't use Serato, so I can't use SoundSwitch. I understand. I appreciate that, but you're still at the mercy. Anyway, all right, enough of me. I'm late to my call. I gotta go. So I will talk to all of you guys next Thursday. I'm working on the algorithm DJ review. I'm working on it right now. Hopefully it comes out next week. Anyway, gotta go. Enjoy your day. Have great parties this week. I think we have 8. 8. Yeah, we have 8. No, I'm sorry, 9. Because we have one on Friday. So hopefully they all go according to plan. And I'll have more stuff to talk about next week. All right, y'all. We'll see you soon. Peace out. Have a great day.